And welcome to all. Um, yeah, so it's been an interesting week. I apologize, my email didn't get out to a lot of you people, and some it went to, but basically, I had said in an email, I said, wow, it's only Tuesday and we're kind of stressed out. So I pivoted from what my thoughts were about what I might share, because I think everybody knows stress undermines our health in more ways than we may know. But basically, when we're stressed out, our body, our adrenals in particular, spewing out inflammatory hormones, cortisol, adrenaline. And the thing is, inflammation is actually necessary for healing, but when it's chronic, when it's, day in and day out, the news is getting a little tough to listen to. In fact, for the first time in my life, I feel concerned for the broadcasters, the people who are having to talk about this stuff day in and day out, I used to, think, I don't know, I guess they're doing it to make a living, but I'm starting to have compassion for these people. It's just got to be tough. But having said that, yoga is a great tool for helping us with stress. I am you, you are me, I get stressed out, and I have to find ways for me to calm myself down. So today's class is about that. But tests are showing all kinds of tests, from EEG, like electroencephalogram tests, are showing that yoga has a profound effect on the parts of our brain, because it is a brain scan, an EEG, that calm our nervous systems down. Yoga offers us so many tools, and without us actually knowing sometimes, as I've said many times, trust that if you are practicing this science, you are receiving enormous benefits. So today we are going to practice postures, and it'll be an all-rounded practice, because inversions are revitalizing, and they also send a lot of blood supply to clear out sinuses, because that's an issue for a lot of people this time of year. In fact, there are latent viruses, bacteria, and fungi always in our bodies and on the outsides of our bodies. So it's not about trying to avoid bacteria and viruses and funguses. It's more about the terrain. That's what we need to focus on. So the terrain needs to be nourished, protected, supported, energized, and all these things are done through exercise, diet, proper sleep, and being aware of what's going on in our minds, what we're feeding our minds, and also what's being repeated over and over and over, whether it's externally or internally, just to become aware of it. And there's no judgment, there's no blame, there's nothing. Life is, not for the faint of heart if you're really going to give yourself to all of it and be present for all of it. So to that end, the heat is on, and the heat is on, reminds me of that song. So let's come on to our backs, because it's always a good idea to warm up our lower backs and our hips. So come on to your backs. And draw your knees into your chest. One hand on each shin, and just do a little bit of rocking from side to side. This just get a little bit of blood supply into this area. It's pretty cold out there. And make some maybe little circles. Just check in with your back when you're moving. If you notice anything, be aware. And then separate your feet, keeping your knees bent so that your feet are on the outer edges of your mat. Take your arms out to the side, shoulder height. Lift your shoulder blades up and tuck them under your heart center, and tilt your chin towards the notch or center of your upper chest area. And then let's press the small of the back into the floor. So last week I think, worked on the core. So when you press your lower back into the floor, you feel your transverse abdominis, which are the deepest of the core abdominal muscles, in your rectus abdominis. Remember, that's your six-pack. But you feel these guys engaging just by virtue of pressing the small of your back into the mat. And then lift it up just a little bit and assume neutral. So you're not exactly pressing the small of your back into the floor, nor are you arching the lower back, but you're in a neutral position. Inhaling in place, exhale, drop both knees over to the left and gently turn your head to the right. And inhale, come back to center. And exhale, both knees over to the other side, head to the opposite side. And inhale, come back to center. And when you go slow, or at least when you bring your attention to your core, you'll notice it working. Exhaling, lowering both knees over to the left, stretching the obliques. These are the two muscles that wrap around the outside, or the sides of your waist. You have external and internal obliques. Inhale, come back to center. And last time, exhale, drawing both knees over to the right, head to the left. And inhale, come back to center, and draw both knees once again into the chest. And then, keeping the knees bent, place the soles of the feet flat on the floor so that the heels align with your sits bones. Arms are beside your body, palms are facing down. Again, lifting up your shoulder blades, tuck them under your heart center. Feel the openness in your chest when you do this. And then press the small of your back into the floor and peel your spine off the floor, coming up into Setu Bandhasana, half bridge pose, holding here. So the throat and the respiratory system, the nasal passage, obviously these are areas where bacteria, viruses can enter into the body by breathing in through the nostrils, the hairs, the mucus. All of these things are designed to prevent any of the bacteria or the viruses from entering into your deeper into your respiratory tract, into your lungs and bronchial tissues. So when you're able, remember, breathing through your nostrils, it warms, it moisturizes, it purifies what is entering into your lungs. One more breath in and press up. You can feel your thighs activating, your glutes. Nice little compression at the throat here. Helps also to purge that area of toxins and waste. And then starting from the top of your spine, slowly release your torso all the way onto the mat. Now, place your right ankle on top of your left knee. With your right hand, press the knee away from you. And then with the right hand, you're going to go in between your legs. Your left hand goes on the outside. You're lifting your left knee up towards your torso, interlocking your fingers behind the back of your left thigh. So your right arm is between your legs. Obviously, you're going to be feeling this in your right hip. You might be feeling it in the insertion of the hamstrings into your sits bones. Ischial tuberosities is the anatomical name, but in yoga we call them your sits bones. You want to be perched on top of those puppies whenever you're seated. Then you're guaranteed more likely to be supporting the arc, the concave curve of the lower back, the lumbar. Now, For those of us maybe with longer arms or a little more flexibility, perhaps you can reach around to the front of the shin. However, if that's not available, keep your hands, fingers interlocked, interlaced behind the back of the left knee. You're only reaching in front if you can keep your shoulder blades on the mat. So this intensifies the opening and the stretch through the hips. Just breathe into this area. We're not taking it past this point. Breathe into that hip area. Remembering that we store a bunch of emotions and stuff in the hip area. So just breathe into it and know that you are releasing whatever it is that got stashed there that you don't need anymore. It feels so good to let go of stuff. In fact, sometimes we let go of stuff we can't even remember we had it. That's the best part. Creating space, feeling lighter. And then cross that leg over top, the top leg, your right leg over top of your left. Take your arms out to the side one more time and lower both legs over to the left side. And then just feel a nice gentle stretch through the area where we were releasing. Inhaling, come back to center, uncross, and let's place the left ankle on top of the right knee. With your left hand, press the knee away from you. You're going to feel that in your hip flexors as well as your hip joint. And then bring the right knee towards you. And again, start with interlocking your fingers behind the back of that right knee. So your left arm is between your legs. Your right arm is along the outside of your right thigh. And you're pulling the knee gently towards you. No big deal. You don't have to do too much here. As long as you're feeling something, you're releasing, you're stretching, you're opening, you're letting go. So breathe into the area that feels the most tension and tightness, the part that's looking for the most love. And then if you want, you can try to see if reaching your hands around to the front of that right shin is available. If it's not, or if this is too intense, bring your hands back behind your thigh. I know in some workouts they say no pain, no gain. That's not what yoga's about. Yoga says if you're experiencing pain, stop doing what you're doing. Ahimsa, non-violence. We will be talking, again, as I said, I pivoted this week. I was going to talk about the yamas and niyamas. We will next week. But non-violence towards our own bodies, ahimsa is a Sanskrit word, is something important to observe and part of yoga. And let's cross that top leg over as if you were wearing perhaps a tight skirt, crossing your legs. And then you can lower the foot to the floor of the right leg and let both knees fall over to the right side. And you might turn your head to the opposite side. Just breathe. And inhale, come back to center. Uncross your legs. And you can either roll over onto your side or you can bring your hands underneath the backs of your thighs and rock up to a seated position and come on over onto your hands and knees. So we're going to do a modified balasana pose, child's pose, and the modification is Keeping your knees together. Now, if 90 degrees doesn't work for you, then you're going to just be on your knees. But I want you to take your hands out in front in prayer, and I want you to cross your thumbs over. So this is Ardha Kurmasana, tortoise pose. The full expression of tortoise is quite intense, but you are lowering your belly onto your thighs. Your arms are straight out in front, your hands are in prayer, and you're crossing one thumb over the other. And just letting your head rest between your arms. So many of you know the gut is home to more of your immune cells than anywhere else in the body. So by compressing on this area, assisting in digestion and removal of toxins, wastes, and impurities, our immune cells have an easier time of protecting us. If they're so busy or being blocked by waste, they're not able to do their job. So I'm going to repeat, it's not necessarily the germ, it is our terrain. Practicing yoga is still singularly the best thing I know of that promotes overall health. It doesn't focus on one muscle or one area. Your entire being is being addressed in these yoga classes to support optimal health and calm. And inhale, come on up. Placing your hands flat on the floor with your fingers spread wide apart. Curl your toes under, lift your hips up. Now we're just going to practice walking the dog for a moment just to stretch out the hips, relax the neck. So straighten one leg and bend the other. Make sure you're pressing all 10 fingers into the mat. And let's change, one knee bent, one leg straight. Please give your head a shake. Don't hold your head up. Try to align it between your arms, but allow the weight of your head to stretch out your cervical vertebra. And let's change one more time. One leg straight, one bent. Sometimes just giving our heads a little bit of a shake in the yes and no position can release a lot of tension and stress from the neck. And last time, changing. And then walk your feet towards your hands. Keep your knees soft, let your belly rest on your thighs, let your head hang and let your arms hang. So this is considered an inversion. Our endocrine system works along with our nervous system and the nervous system is the boss, by the way, when it comes to truly being healthy. But between the nervous system and the endocrine system, all the different hormones are delivered exactly and precisely when and where they are needed. And then slowly roll up, stacking one vertebra on top of the next, keeping your chin tucked into your chest and letting your head be the last thing to come up. And then inhale, shoulders up to ears. Exhale, roll them back. Interlock your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And I guess the sun is coming out, which is lovely, but we're trying to let the people at home have a good view of this class. So tech guy's pulling the blinds up. I'm that non-blind person. I mean, in terms of having all my blinds open at home. Okay, so lift your chest up. Really feel rooted and grounded through your feet. Exhale, forward fold, lifting shoulders up. Just warming up the upper spine. Release your hands. Let your head hang and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. So we're going to do half sun salutations first. So feet are about hip width apart. Outsides of feet are parallel with the outsides of your mat. Feel really strong in your thighs, so lift up on your kneecaps. In fact, lift your toes off the floor and feel your big toe mount, your baby toe mount in the center front of your heel, rooted and grounded, because our feet are not going to move in half sun salutations. And then lower your toes down on the floor and let them have a bit of a rest. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Turn the palms out, bend your knees and swan dive onto your thighs, fingertips tented on the floor. On an inhale, lift your hips. Let the crown of your head float down. Feel the stretch in the backs of your legs. Exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips. You're in that tuck position. For those of you who are skiers or watch skiing, this is the position they're in when they start. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up. Exhale, float your arms down, taking up lots of space. Keep these thighs engaged. Inhale, turn the palms out. Exhale, bend your knees, swan dive onto your thighs. Fingertips tented on the floor just outside of and in front of your feet. On an inhale, lift your hips and let the crown of your head float down. Exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips, shoulders back. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up. Exhale, turn the palms out and float your arms down. Inhale, try to synchronize your breath with the movement. Exhale, swan dive. Think of it as poetry in motion. Fingertips tented on the floor. On an inhale, lift your hips. Let your head hang. Now, just give your head a little bit of a swing. Know what it feels like to let it go. Exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips. On an inhale, using the power of your thighs, sweeping up. Exhale, float your arms down. 3 more times. Inhale. Turn the palms out, exhale. Inhale. Keep your belly as much as you can glued to your thighs. Let the crown of your head hang down. Exhale. Drop your hips, shoulders back. Inhale. Sweep the arms up. Exhale. Turn the palms out. Float your arms down. Inhale, thighs engaged. Exhale, kind of like an isometric to keep your thighs engaged. Inhale, lift your hips. Crown of head floats down. Exhale, drop your hips. Inhale, sweeping up. We're going to add a modification on the last round. Exhale, float your arms down. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, lift your hips, let the crown of your head hang. Now bend your right leg. Place your left hand on your your right hand on your left instep. Right leg is bent. Right hand on left instep. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, reaching up, stretching up. Eyes can be open or closed. Exhale, float it down. And then bend your left leg. Right leg is straight. Left hand goes on right instep. Inhale, sweep the other arm up, reaching up, stretching up. Really getting this core nice and warm. Exhale, float it down. Bend your knees, drop your hips. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up. Float the arms down, taking up lots of space. And just spend a moment in Tadasana. Your eyes can be closed, arms are by your side, reaching up through the crown. If there's one cue you want to keep in mind when you're sitting or standing, it's lifting up the sternum. Lifting your sternum, that opens up the front of your body. It gives your lungs space. It gets your shoulders back. and your shoulder blades down. It's called good posture. Okay, give your legs a good shake out. If you need a sip of water, we're going to do a couple of rounds of full sun salutations. Starting at the front of your mats. So come up to the front. If you have socks on and they don't have stickies on the bottom, this would be a good time to remove them. The room's definitely warmer now. Inhaling in place, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart. Reach up, look up, lengthen as you arc, opening up the chest. Inhale, bring your feet back towards one another, lift out of your waist. Exhale, forward fold, let your heads hang. Step your left leg back, you can drop the knee to the mat. Place your hands on that front thigh. You can also skip the step of the knee on the mat if you want, but then lift up, press through that back heel. Keep your shoulders right over your hips. Press through your back heel. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Focus your gaze 8 or 9 feet in front of you if you feel a bit wobbly. And wobbles are working lots of different muscles. So wobble away. You're strengthening your proprioceptor muscles. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart. Take whatever position of plank works for you today. If you have wrist or shoulder issues, then please bring your knees to the floor. If you take your ankles and feet off the floor and cross them, there's much less weight in your upper body. So make the adjustment to get the benefits that will be useful and beneficial for you today. If you're in the full plank, reach through the crown of your head forward. Press through your heels backwards. If you're not feeling your core engaging, then draw your belly in towards your spine. Breathe. Shoulders away from your ears, heart towards your thumbs. Then release your knees if they're not already down. Flatten the tops of your feet. Take your hips all the way back to your heels. Releasing your belly onto your thighs. Leave your hands where they are. And just have a nice deep breath in and a deep exhale out. Maybe another one. Remember, breathing through your nose is ideal for purifying the air. A lot more toxins and stuff in the air today, so it's really important when we can to breathe through our noses. Leaving the hands where they are. Keep the body low. Keep the bum high. Release your forearms and elbows and slowly come forward until your chest and your chin are on the mat. Slide everything out behind you. If your feet are off the mat, then come forward with your body. Release your forehead to the mat. Align your fingertips with the edges of your shoulders, elbows into your rib cage, and press your forearms down towards the floor. Roll an invisible alley with your nose. On an inhale, lift your head, neck, shoulders, chest, maybe even a bit of your diaphragm. So you're not really using your hands, you're using the muscles of your back, strengthening the kidneys. All back bends are helpful, kidneys, and then your stress glands sitting right on top of the kidneys. Your adrenals are also receiving extra energy in terms of purging. Once we release from our back bend, just before we come into our downward dog, fresh arterial blood rushes into these areas to nourish. So huge benefits just in holding Bhujangasana. This also opens up the chest, relieving any tension or congestion, especially in the bronchial tubes, the lung area. One more breath in, exhale, lengthen and lower. Curl your toes under. You can come up onto your knees first or press right up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Walk your feet a few inches forward. Be sure you're pressing all 10 fingers into the mat. Now, press your belly in towards your thighs, chest towards knees. Align your ears with your inner arms. Have a look at your fingers at this point. Middle finger should be pointing forward. And then as you press your sits bones towards the back wall, you're lengthening your spine and pressing your heels towards the mat. Doesn't matter if they touch or not. This is an energizing posture. It is an inversion, so extra blood supply is bathing your endocrine system. All of the glands that produce all the hormones that are needed for all the activities that go on in our bodies. Lift that left leg up in the air, look at your left hand, and then swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other leg forward, and then let your upper body hang in Uttanasana. Arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps. Pull your bellies in to protect your lower back. Sweep the arms in front. Feel your core working and your thighs. Feet apart for balance. Look up, reach up, arc, extend, bend. Inhale, come back straight up. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, hands in prayer. Exhale to your heart center. One more round. Inhale, exhale, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart. Reach your arms up, look up, arc back. Inhale, bring your feet back towards one another. Lift up out of your waist. Reach forward, hinging from your hips. Lengthening your torso, fingertips touch the floor, head hangs down. Step your right leg back and drop the knee to the mat. Bring your hands onto your left thigh and then focus your gaze. Your anchor will be that back foot, so be sure to press through the heel. Try to bring your torso straight over your hips. Sweep the arms up. Focus your gaze on the floor if you're struggling with balance. Breathe. Obviously, by focusing on balance postures, we also help to calm the nervous system, which calms the mind. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart. Take that front leg back, coming into your version of plank posture. Reaching through the crown of your head, eyes are looking down at your mat, your neck is part of your spine. Feel your core engaging. Pressing all 10 fingers into the mat so that you have space inside of your palm. That is your carpal tunnel. Pressing through your heels and breathe. Then release your knees to the mat. Flatten the tops of your feet by pointing your toes backwards. Take your hips slowly back towards your heels, stretching your spine, stretching the chest, the lungs. Leave your hands where they are and breathe. And then staying nice and low, come forward. You may be able to drop your elbows and forearms to the mat, lowering your chest and your chin. Bum stays up. Slide everything out behind you. Draw your fingertips back to align with your shoulders. Forehead is on the mat. For the fuller expression of Cobra, to open up the chest, you may wish to separate and widen your feet, the width of the mat, rolling your baby toe into the mat. On an inhale, pressing hips and pelvis into the mat, roll an invisible alley, lift your head, neck, shoulders, chest. You may just wish to stay here in baby cobra or pressing the floor away from you. Do not let your elbows wing out. Do not let your shoulders raise up either. Eyes can float up towards your third eye, Ajna chakra, seat of intuition. One more breath in. Exhale, lengthen as you lower. Draw your feet back towards one another. If you separated them, curl your toes under, pressing up into downward facing dog. Please walk your feet a couple of inches forward so you can bend your knees. Press your belly onto your thighs. Press your chest towards your knees. Pressing all 10 fingers into the mat. Press your sits bones towards the back of your mat. And now straighten your legs by pressing your heels towards the mat. Hugely energizing posture, beautiful stretch for the kidneys, the adrenals, sending extra blood supply above the heart into the throat, neck, head, brain region. Earth telluric energy entering through the feet and the hands. Lift the right leg up in the air. Look at your right hand. Swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other leg forward. And let your upper body hang. Arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs. Pull your bellies in. Sweep the arms forward. Inhale. Feet apart for balance. Look up. Arc back. Inhale. Stretch up. Exhale, reach forward, folding, fingertips to the floor, knees bent if you need to, of course. But we'll all bend our knees now and bring the arms out to the side, sweeping up and overhead, hands in prayer, Anjali Mudra. Exhale to your heart center. Take a sip of water if you need, and then bring your body flat out and relaxing into Shavasana for a couple of moments to allow the benefits of your performance to be integrated and uploaded. So back bends in a classic yoga practice, spending time in this area opens the chest, relieves congestion, great for people with bronchial issues, asthma, any type of respiratory issues. It's always good to open, stretch that area. And of course, as I mentioned, the back bends also helping to energize the kidneys, which are busy 24/7 filtering fluids in the body. So as you're lying down, just become aware of your breathing without attempting to control it. And one of the reasons we learn to practice becoming aware of our breath is that it's a great distraction for our minds, particularly when we're feeling anxiety or stress. The mind has to be like a little toddler, busy doing something. Toddlers play. Adults don't play as much. We do a little more thinking about things that sometimes are not creating happiness or any kind of relaxation or openness for revelatory thoughts and ideas. So just by focusing your awareness right now on the breath going in through your nose, watching what the body does, exhaling, letting go. Okay. One of the most powerful positions in Hatha Yoga is a shoulder stand. Now, most of you have a block or a cushion. If you prefer not to do a full shoulder stand and plow pose, please use your block or your cushion underneath your sacrum. I'm demonstrating here now. So this is an option. I've got it on the medium height. If you wish, you can use your meditation cushion as well, and you just get your legs up in the air. Now, if you decide from here that you might want to try your shoulder stand, then grab your hips and just let your legs fall halfway over. They can be bent or straight, or just keep the block underneath. And then if you're going to come into the fuller expression from here, you can bend your knees, walk your hands up towards your waist, bringing your elbows perhaps a little bit closer to one another, and then lifting and straightening your legs. So we are now reversing. If you're in the shoulder stand, Shavangasana, 75% of fresh oxygenated blood is now permeating everything above your heart. Take your legs wide apart and gently, slowly, carefully lower them down over behind your head. Let it be organic. Do not let your legs go any further than your body feels willing for them to go. Inhale slowly, wide leg shoulder stand, coming back up. And exhale, wide leg plow pose, legs wide apart. Inhaling, legs back up and bring them together. Lower the left knee towards the left ear. And back up. Right knee to right ear. And back up. One knee to either side of the head. So both knees bent. Back up. Back down. Back up. And then lower the legs over behind your head and release your hands to the floor, or remove your block and slowly roll all the way back down with as much control as you can. Inhaling in place. Exhale, draw the right knee up and interlock your fingers 2 inches below the knee. Let's point the foot and flex the foot on the right side of the bent leg. Point, and flex. Rotate, make circles. Change the direction. With your left hand on the outside of your right knee, draw your right knee across the body over to the left side and take your right arm out to the right side. And you may wish to also turn your head to the right side, wherever it feels comfortable. Breathing into your lower back takes a lot of core strength to hold shoulder stand. So we're stretching out the muscles that we were just working. Inhale, come back to center. Draw the left knee up, extend the right leg down in front. Interlock your fingers 2 inches below, both on the shin of the left knee, and then point the foot of the left leg. Flex, point, rotate, making circles, lubricating the entire ankle joint. Change the direction, rotating. And then with your right hand on the outside of your left knee, draw it across your body over to the right side. You're rolling over onto your right hip. Keeping your right hand on the outside of your left knee, just to maintain a modicum of pressure. Stretching through the lower back as well as the hip area. Inhale, come back to center. We're going to roll up to seating, or if you wish, roll over onto your side and use your top arm to press yourself back up. We're going to do camel pose again. I know we've done this the last couple of weeks, but this is great if we have congestion in the bronchial area, then stretching and opening and getting the mucus or whatever's in there moving out. That'll be after class. So if you need something underneath your knees, then place something under your knees. If you didn't grab a knee pad, you can always fold your mat over to protect your knees. Curling your toes under. Now, if you have blocks and you want to put them by your side, if this is a really intense stretch for you, curling your toes under, of course, means your heels will be closer. You're going to line up your thighs with your hip bones, toes curled under. Place your hands on your hips. Now, let your head fall back, and then let your upper body also stretch and arc backwards. You may be able to release one hand, place it on your heel, and perhaps the other hand as well. If not, keep your hands on your waist. We'll only be here a few seconds, but you can see how much this opens up the chest, the throat area. If your hands were on your heels, bring one up, bring the other up. Now bring your head up and come all the way back down. Take your knees wide apart, big toes touch, flatten the tops of your feet. We'll take our modified child's pose for a moment, just to equalize the pressure. Releasing your torso between your thighs and perhaps your forehead to the mat, or if you need height, fold your forearms one on top of the other. If bending your knees 90 degrees isn't comfortable, then come into puppy pose, keeping your bum up high. Arms can be wherever you like, or you can take the position we started with in the beginning of the class with the arms straight out in front, one thumb over top of the other. And inhale, come on up, coming into a seated position. Take your legs straight out in front. Pull your flesh away from your sits bones so you can feel your sits bones grounding. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reaching up, stretching up. Exhale, lead with your hearts, lengthen your spine. Don't concern yourself with how far you fold. Think about how much you can stretch and lengthen. You're already doing great things by pressing your belly into your thighs. And then lower your hands and let them land wherever they land. On your next inhale, reach your heart center forward. And your next exhale, perhaps by leveraging with your hands on your feet or your ankles, perhaps you can lengthen and lower a little bit more. Just know that wherever you are is perfect for you today. One more breath in to lengthen, reach through the crown of your head. You may feel your hamstrings firing, the backs of your thighs. Exhale, last time lowering. And then walk your hands back up your legs. Smile and bang out the backs of your legs. Okay, we're going to do 2 twist positions. They're huge for getting rid of what we don't need in our bodies. So first one, Marichi asana. You're going to bend your, I'll do the mirror image, your right leg. Bend your right leg. Okay, and then take your right hand behind you and take the left hand behind you, the other hand, and reaching around. Can you take hold of your hands? Maybe not. Come back to the center. Straighten that leg. Bend the other leg. Again, reach your arms behind you. Now, there are so many benefits here. This is obviously creating greater flexibility in your spine. It's opening up your chest and your shoulders. The twist position is squeezing toxins and waste out of your body, out of your abdominal organs and glands. And then release, come back to center. And now straighten out that leg. Let's go back to the first leg. So that'll be your right foot. Place it outside your knee. Interlock your fingers 2 inches below the kneecap. Pull your torso right up against your thigh. Shoulders down, lengthen your spine. At this point, you should be able to feel those sits bones grinding, rooting into the floor. Flex the foot of the straight leg. Take your right arm behind you. Inhale the left up. Exhale, either wrapping the elbow around the knee or bringing the elbow outside of the knee. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale. Think about that twist originating at the base of your spine and working its way up, right through the crown. One more breath in to reach up. Exhale, release, and counter twist to the other side. And back to the center. Bang out the backs of the legs. Let's do the other side. Place the foot flat on the floor next to the knee. Interlock your fingers 2 inches below. So if you're able to put the foot flat on the floor. And you know, if you're finding this difficult, you could keep the foot on the inside of your leg. If you're finding it difficult on the outside, keep it on the inside. But lift yourself up nice and tall, flex the foot of the straight leg, bring your left hand behind you, inhale the right up. Again, you can either pull that knee towards you, or if it's accessible, elbow outside of the knee, taking hold and holding whichever way you can. On an inhale, use that back arm to lengthen and lift up through the spine. Exhale, twisting from the bottom part of your spine, visualizing working your way up. One more breath in, lifting up. Exhale, return, counter twist, and coming back into the center. Fold your legs over to the side. Place your block in front of you. Slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time, head being the last thing to come up. We're just going to place the block in front of us. You're going to flatten your spine. Going to place your hands on the block. So you may want it on a higher height to lengthen your spine, core. Okay, your tabletop. Take your feet wide apart. You can point your toes out. You're going to inhale, sweep the right arm up, reaching up, stretching up, looking up. Feel your core, all those core muscles activated. Exhale, float it down. Inhale, sweep the other arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Exhale, float it down. Let's lunge over to the right side, bringing bum as close to heel as possible. Inhaling up and over to the other side. And back into the center. And then take hold of your meditation cushion and let's just spend a moment with another mudra. So this is called Bhu Mudra. This is for anxiety and stress. Now, if we were actually outside doing this in the summertime, you might want your pointer fingers to touch the ground. But basically, you're going to take your ring and baby finger and fold it into your palm. Your ring and your baby fingers are folded into your palm. You're going to take your thumb and fold it over those fingers, and the point of your peace fingers are going to stay straight. So basically, if you were outside, you would be touching the earth. So this brings earth grounding energy into our bodies. So mudras bring intentional energy into our systems. This one is bringing earth energy, B-H-U, Bhu Mudra. Mudras are seals, gestures, hand positions, if you will. You can also rest your hands on your lap. Eyes are closed just for a moment. Being aware of your breath, sitting as tall as you can. Filling your lungs and emptying them. Be aware of any effects that you may be feeling. It's not about searching, wanting. It's just pure awareness. Keeping your eyes closed if you can, bring your body flat out onto the mat for a couple of moments. In Shavasana, palms are facing up in the open and receiving position. With your eyes closed, allow your eyeballs to sink into their sockets. Let your bodies be soft and heavy. This mudra we just practiced can be done when you're walking, when you're sitting in transit, sitting at home if you're feeling on edge, out of sorts, stressed out, anxious. Until we work with a practice and practice it, we will not be aware of the benefits. drawing the air through your nostrils into your lungs, exhaling carbon dioxide, waste lactic acid out. Inhaling long, full, and deep, exhaling. Inhaling, belly filling, diaphragm lengthening, chest and collarbones lifting. Exhale, belly falling, diaphragm contracting, chest and collarbones falling. Inhale, sweep the arms over behind your heads. Reach and stretch, point feet far, flex and point, and drop your arms down by your sides. Take a moment to roll over onto your side, using your bottom arm as a pillow, bending your knees to protect your lower back. And when you're ready, you may come up to a seated position, but stay as long as you like. May all beings be happy, content, and fulfilled. May all beings be healed and whole. May all beings have whatever they want and need. May all beings be protected from harm and free from fear. May all beings enjoy inner peace and ease. May all be awakened, liberated, and free. May there be peace in this world and throughout the entire universe. If you wish, please join me in chanting Om once to seal this class, to put forth these thoughts, these prayers. Inhaling together. Om Shanti, peace, namaste, salutation.